Good evening. Welcome to another series of climate change ahead of 9th ABU Media Summit on climate change and natural disaster. Today we are going to discuss about industries and the climate change and how the sustainable development helps for the economy. To discuss this, we have Mr. Leel Randhani, the Director of Climate Change Secretariat at Ministry of Environment. Good evening, Mr. Randhani.
Yeah, good evening.
Let me start first with what does this climate change to do with Sri Lanka now, because we have seen a lot of consequences of climate change. We have seen natural disasters, we have seen frequent rain and then longer drought period. There are a lot of consequences we have seen. But what are the mitigatory measures now Sri Lanka has taken so far from your role as the director?
Yes, let me tell you the significance of climate change to our country. We are not a very big country. We are an island in the Indian Ocean, and our industry sector or the energy sector, the sectors who are emitting greenhouse gases are not that much significant when compared to the developed world, those countries' economy is mainly governed by the industrial production, and their products are more export oriented products and all, so then they get a lot of foreign exchange from those things, so their economy is very rich in that sense. But ours are mostly agricultural and by some extent of industries also. But what happened is that with this present day exploitation of resources, lot of resources, you see our life is fueled by fossil fuels, and so likewise then with almost all the economic activities, what happened is that the certain share of greenhouse gases have been emitted, because with the burning of a kilogram of coal or a liter of diesel or whatever for electricity generation, what happened is that the carbon dioxide is emitted, and if our land uses are not that satisfactory and our waste is being fermented in the yards and all, the methane is emitted, or likewise those are greenhouse gases. Then because of their accumulation, what happened is this globe gets warmed, and the sun rays, it brings some heat, and those heat is trapped surrounding atmosphere. What happened is this atmosphere is heating and heating, so if once it accused to some level of heat, then it affects to the climate and all those situations. Then we happen to the climate is changed because of these greenhouse gases and subsequent warming of the globe, so the atmosphere. Then because of these happenings, our normal climate order is changed. So the rains, precipitation, all those things and are changed. The pattern is changed. So that is adverse to us, and we happen to survive with lot of problems under that situation. So the Climate Change Secretariat, we signed the Paris Agreement, as this is the global phenomenon, global environmental issue. Unlike other solid waste, other biodiversity degradation, this is not that localized. Biodiversity degradation and the waste problem and all those things, environmental pollution, those are also happening in the global scale, but this is more global in that sense, because the countries, those who are not emitting very much, they also happen to face the bad repercussions of this climate change, adverse impacts. So because of that, it is a global problem. So there is a global agenda, and we signed the Paris Agreement, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Those provisions, there are some supports and all those things are given to the countries like us to make our countries ready to face the climate change challenges, and at the same time reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and adapt our sector. So our role is that to coordinate. We work with our sectoral line agencies, ministries, communities, civil societies, private sector, and all those different partners also to achieve this global goal and work in local, act local, but our challenge is global.
In other words, what you say is we are paying for somebody else's sins.
Exactly, yeah.
Some some industrial countries emitted more gases, but we are basically experiencing all these climate change. And you talk about exploitation of resources, right? And one of the reasons why we see this climate change. And also you said globally we are supported by some agencies to mitigate this. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, you know what happened is that our economy I mean, for the economy there should be some inputs. I mean, economy is the aggregation of there are major two parties, consumers and the producers. So for the consumers to consume the products or services should be there, then the producers produce goods, then they get resources from the ecosystem, water, essential ingredient for whatever the service or the production sector, then other land and other resources, natural resources, the raw materials, whatever. So the production sectors produce the goods and services, then adds value, then that is being traded or the sold in the market, then the consumers consume. Then there are two ends. Because of this we are talking on this closed economic model. So but the resources are being taken from the ecosystem, the natural environment, and once the products are being consumed, then the waste also emitted in the, that is the sink. So then what happened is that if we exploit our resource base without thinking our future needs of these resources, because to sustain our economy, you told very first initiation we are going to discuss the sustainable development. So the development to be sustainable, we should not exploit the resource base, there should be some amount replenishable resources for the future generations also to replenish itself, so then we can, our economy can operate sustainably. And at the same time we cannot load the ecosystem with excessive loads of pollutant, with the ecosystem cannot assimilate, recycle. Then otherwise that function, the sink function also will be impaired. Ecosystem will not be accommodate our waste anymore. So then with having that idea into mind, the sink function and the source function, we should operate our economy, then we can have a sustainable economy. So the exploitation should be reduced, sustainable harvesting, sustainable use of obtaining of the resources, and the sink function, the emitting of our waste in a sustainable way, so that the ecosystem will not be harmed.
Though we talk about sustainability, we need to move with all these industries and the production and all the agricultural activities. So basically we need to shift from more with more focus on the sustainability rather than not thinking about sustainability. Now if I ask you, have you graded these industries into like what are the industries that are basically emitting more carbon into the system, and what are the industries that are emitting less carbon into the system, and what's the action taken by the secretariat on these industries?
Yeah, so the industries are categorized based on their pollution loads, right? High polluting industries, medium polluting industries, low polluting industries. So high polluting industries are, suppose they are effluent. If the textile dyeing industry, likewise tannery industries, likewise, then which are the industries used sometimes for cleaning and all the purposes, some heavy metals might be producing, and some of the detergents to clean the clothes or whatever, then those things are being emitted. I mean, before emission of the natural waterways, those should be treated inside. So then we don't allow, the country's environmental policy do not allow these high polluting industries to operate outside the industrial estates. So our strategy to place them, because we have zoning our country, there are some areas specially identified, and we provide our facilities, common wastewater treatment plant facilities and all for the industries. I mean, high polluting and the medium polluting is also will be placed there. But some industries not using much water and not emitting waste, So, they can be allowed outside the industrial estate, but under the environmental norms, they should operate under the environmental norms specified in the National Environment Act. So, being supervised, being monitored by the Central Environmental Authority or the delegated authority. So, likewise we have that environmental policy to keep them safe, and their production also needed. I mean, their products have been exported, we get lot of foreign currency and all, and our lot of laborers are also, I mean, workforce is engaged in those things. We know the need those things, but there are environmental laws and procedures are in place, so that their environment pollution is under control, being managed, not harmful to our ecosystem and the society.
One of the key concepts in the sustainable development is the green energy. What has Sri Lanka done on this green energy so far?
Green energy means the renewable energy, because the justification, the rationale is that once we entered into the open market economic systems, our economic sector expanded. Lot of labor force engaged in value addition things, so they migrated from agricultural into value addition industrial labor force likewise. Then those industries to operate, external energy sources are needed. So, our transport sector, transportation of the goods and services and the workers and all, that is there. Then the energy sector produces energy. So, then all in all what happened is that I mean the several fractions, several folds our energy production, this fossil fuel burning has increased. So, what happened is that so there is a threat of global warming and the climate change. So, then the Ministry of Environment has some measures so that we should prepare our industries, so that although the energy use and everything is higher, so the industries and everything is applying more greener things. So, then green energies are very much important, because you know we are a country blessed with 12 hours sunlight for a year a day. Once we go to the east, I mean the temperate countries, the European countries, their daytime changes with the summer, winter likewise. So, but you know, for a total range of our 12 months, our more or less our daytime is equal to 12 hours. So, we get good sunshine. So, then our solar energy is amply available. There are strategic places then we can go for wind energy, and we have a lot of biomass also, but there are some restrictions when we are exploiting biomass for energy generation, dendrothermal, but that is also one source. So, likewise wind, solar and all those are green energy, and the hydrogen energy to store energy, because once the sun or the wind gives us energy with our technology, although we produce energy, I mean we have to store energy sometimes. Otherwise, our transmission, if we don't have grid storage, we facilitate grid storage, we can storing, then the hydrogen energy is the source that we can store the energy, and there are useful byproducts also, ammonia and all the things. So, we have given significant attention to these green energies. So, we have included in our NDCs, national determined contributions, we prepare for 10 years time, been updated for 5 years time, energy, industry, transport sector are there. So, for the energy sector, we have given a priority for renewable energy sources, to provide incentives to make them some support to get more solar energy to our grid and all.
Mr. Nandini, now you spoke about this industrial countries and advanced countries emitting more gases and carbon during their production process, whereas we, being primarily an agriculture nation, still we see the consequences of those emissions. And there is a process in place called carbon trading to balance this, which is like the nations which emit more carbon should pay some money to the countries which emit less carbon. What is the status of Sri Lanka in this carbon trading?
Yeah, carbon trading framework is being prepared now. That will be available very soon. So the countries, the state position in this will be open for those who are interested in engage in carbon trading also will be available. It's been prepared. So carbon trading, it is a mechanism introduced by the Paris Agreement, so that there are supportive mechanisms in the Paris Agreement, so that countries, those who are not emitting very much carbon, and at the same time if they facilitate their economy or the economic production for low carbon things, then the saved carbon with the modalities, procedures, guidelines, once those are prepared, the country can have that amount of carbon. So there are some agreements in between countries. Under those agreements, the countries can exchange their, the trade their carbon. So for that there is a unit called internationally traded mitigation outcomes. So our mitigation outcome, once it is being calculated or estimated, so this much of mitigation outcome is produced by the country, so that is being traded with that mutual agreement with some country, industrialized country likewise. So but there are some important concerns that countries should be very much cautious about it. What happened is that we can go for trading those things. Even now that things happen in voluntary way. Not most of these things have been we develop mechanisms so that the central government, the climate change secretariat, Ministry of Environment, we try to monitor those things. But there are some mutual agreements that the developed countries or some organizations donate some organizations engaging restoring ecosystem, reforestation likewise. Then there are some ways of indirectly providing some money for greenhouse gas reduction of the greenhouse gas emission. There are some, but the price is given is very low for those things, because those are not verified or not, those are the values are taken without following the standard procedures. Just using some arbitrary ambitious technologies, generic technologies, they transfer those things. Such things happen, but we don't like that to happen. We want to go for compliant markets, organized markets, verified markets,
where we get more money.
Very expensive, very valuable carbon credits. So for that we are preparing those things, and you see. So then there are in carbon trading framework, there are two types of things. So the positive list and the negative list. Then we allow our investors, the private sector, to come and so you invest this type of carbon reduction technologies and carbon removal technologies. Then you are allowed following these things. You need to find out, we need to find out what is the amount of carbon saved. Then you should have some ownership. Then that's why it takes time, because these things should be specified without going for some bad repercussion. Then the private sector also should be benefited. No, they should they are going to invest those things.
That's right.
Likewise the compliant markets. So that there is a separate article for the Paris Agreement, Article 13, enhanced transparency framework. So this everything should be done according to the transparency principle. That is the backbone of the Paris Agreement. There are modalities, procedures, guidelines stemming from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Time by time, through their AR reports, these modalities are being issued. So this has been checked once in all the time. So then our country parties are given the guideline. So if you prepare the measurement, reporting and verification systems to see the carbon, get the carbon stock in different landscapes and all the different sectors, then if you have appropriate NDCs employed appropriately, then if you have the baseline carbon emissions, that is the stock, then if you think the amount of reduction and the positive list, negative list, that we government keep that for our thing, because in our NDCs we pledge this much of carbon emission is reduced by unconditional way with our national thing, but conditional targets we offer to the private sector with other donor support, they can go for. Likewise, once this framework is ready, they can go for carbon trading. I mean, we are not opposed to the carbon trading, we want to trickle down the benefit from being a party to Paris Agreement, but we should have a well organized way so that our people, our industrialists also benefit, and at the same time the global industrialists or whatever that they are, whoever that they are benefiting, and at the same time the final objective should be achieved. What is that? Reduction of the global warming and making our people more resilient and low carbon economies, the globe. Someday 2050 or someday we have pledged that we become a net zero country.
Yeah. Now, if you take foreign direct investment, right? Now, some of the countries, they basically are channeling these FDIs to green industries. Basically, they want to promote sustainable development, and they basically channel this investment for green industries, and then they are focused on all these initiatives, green initiatives. Do you see that happening in Sri Lanka at the moment?
Yeah, we have a separate project initiative with the funding support from the European Union, and the UNIDO is implementing that. That is called Industrial Decarbonization Project. You know what happened is that there should be first, for us to mobilize our private sector or the industrialist or the foreign direct investment, as you well explained, we need that to be invested here. We should have clear policy guideline. This is the way we are operating. These are the benefit for the stakeholder. Likewise, that should be there, guidelines, and the other institutional structure should be there. Then the laws, act and everything should be in place. Then only the foreign direct investment, I mean, autonomously doesn't come to the country, no. That capital is also owned by someone. There should be a trust or the conducive system or the ground for that investors to come and invest in other, otherwise that is not feasible. So, likewise, so what we have done, we are still engaged in that with the Minister of Energy, Minister of Industries and our Minister of Environment. With three industries have been implementing this project, Industrial Decarbonization Project. So, then we have identified in which industries which are more producing more greenhouse gases, and then we selected officials from those industries and we make them enhance their capacities to reduce greenhouse gases and energy use mainly. So, because if we can significantly reduce the energy use in the industrial sector, we can reduce the energy production by using the fossil fuels. Likewise, then those things, then they were capacitated to prepare their level greenhouse gas inventories and the NDC tracking, all those things. So, then more than, let me tell you some statistics, more than 190 local experts have been trained for these things, because the capacity building, right. Then over 65 factories have been benefited from the environmental management systems program that was done by the Industrial Decarbonization Project, resulting in 8 factories achieving ISO 5001 certification. During 2022-2023, 29,198 kilowatt hours were saved. So, that is an outcome. So, then 12,832 carbon dioxide equivalents were mitigated by this. Then 800 million Sri Lankan rupees were saved. So, you see now there are real cases with these figures. Anyone can come and see is that true, because this type of a case study, these are best practices, success stories. Foreign direct investment can be pumped in this context, so that I mean the win-win situations, win-win scenarios can be achieved, and promote energy efficiency in industries. develop about 280 national expert and UNIDO certified energy managers in the country, and by the end of 2026 we have pledged to do that. So likewise there are a lot of things, and so policy integrated, and Central Environmental Authority, Department of Census Statistics, because there should be a good statistical base. We have done a lot of things. I mean, things will be much better. We have taken measures, and we have catalyzed our stakeholders, networked them, policy gaps were addressed. Yeah, we will see, expecting much better outcomes here.
What are the incentives given by the government for private sector to go for sustainable development and green industries?
Yeah, incentives, yes, incentives.
I mean, you see, the private sector is bit lethargic to go with all these sustainable development themes, because they feel like it's a it's a high cost. Sometimes they feel it's an increased cost for them, but the concept is really needed to for the environment, right? To have a clean environment, green environment, they are needed. Unless the government comes up with some policies and also some incentives for the private sector, they are a bit we have seen this, right? Practically it's not sustainable to implement these policies. Is there any incentives in place for the private sector?
Yes, I'm the director of the Climate Change Secretariat. So my role is to facilitate the process, coordinate, make a conducive policy environment, the appropriate tools in place, so that industrialists are being motivated for low carbon technologies, enhance the resilience of the country. Likewise, so we prepared national determined contributions.
This is NDC, right?
NDC, yeah. As you are asking about the industrial sector NDCs, I mean, recently last September we have submitted our NDCs. I shall very briefly go through the then let me go through I will come later to the incentives. Apply these are the key focus areas. Apply energy efficiency practices, especially in energy intensive industries, right? So to reduce energy use. Integrate renewable energy and electricity for industrial heating. Adapt renewable energy, low carbon things, and sustainable consumption and production, circular economy, industrial symbiosis, eco labeling and green reporting. So establish eco industrial parks and villages, right? That is one of a NDC. Implement greenhouse gas mitigation in the industrial products and product use category. Shift to low global warming potential refrigeration technologies. Boost innovation and investment in industrial decarbonization. So these are overarching key focus areas. The Climate Change Secretariat, as the signatory to the Paris Agreement, we have prepared those things. So these are the major interventions. So this is our bigger policy, global. For these in the NDCs, we get support from the convention and other multilateral donors and all. They support us. Those are called means of implementation. There are separate articles in the Paris Agreement for these means of implementation: climate finance, technology development or transfer, and the capacity building. So these three means of implementation are provided to us. So so my role is to prepare this overarching space so that our actors, the players are, I mean, I am from the government now. Government roles is to have the rules of the game. The basic resource economic principle. We are going to specify the rules of the game. I mean, the playing is their role. So we this is one of a game rule. The NDC is there. You identify your NDC, then the industry ministry or the private sector chambers, they can work accordingly so that they can motivate low carbon economies, industrial parks and things, and circular economy, lot of different overarching areas identified. So in that case, if they want our support, there are also mechanisms. Then suppose I am the secondary focal point to the Green Climate Fund. Our secretary is the primary focal point. So, we are getting support from the Green Climate Fund. We are getting support from the National Adaptation Fund and lot of different funding mechanism and some donors, Asian Development Bank, they are providing some loans and all. So, then for those things I mean to achieve these NDCs. So, then there are a lot of different opportunities. Recently, the External Resource Department of the Ministry of Finance signed an agreement with the Asian Development Bank to mobilize these industries and all for implementing NDs to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and all. And the other thing is that we are continuously providing them with essential skills to our industries to mobilize them, so that I mean they are ready to reduce their energy use, reduce fossil fuel burning, quality outputs, and likewise so that they are climate friendly. Like then indirectly their products are very climate friendly, they develop a green image, their output will be sold in the developed country, they get a lot of profit margin likewise. So, our role is not traditional approach. Traditional approach is giving incentives to the private sector, but we at the national focal point create a conducive facilitative environment. So, other players play to create incentivized context, so that the ultimate objective is being achieved.
What are the challenges, Mr. Andani, in making this sustainable industries, because it's not easy, right? It's very it's very difficult rather than saying it. In the implementation, you need to go through a lot of process and also convince the people, right, who won't understand the reality of this sustainable industries. So, what are the key challenges you face in implementing these policies?
We need little more support. We get lot of support because the private sector, we have private sector working groups and we are always in discourse with them. We get their support to our NDCs also. We had consultations. We try to incorporate their concerns into, we tried our best and we were successful in that. We need little more support. What is little more support? We get lot of support. I mean to be more focused further so that we can attract more means of implementation to mobilize key sectors, key production activities, and to achieve circular economic principles and see some tangible something, so that we can report. I mean, you see, we have reporting platforms. You see, I am the national focal point for UNFCCC, the Paris Agreement. You know, we have a reporting responsibility once in 2 years. We have to report to the Paris Agreement, that is called biennial transparency reports as per the Article 13 of the Paris Agreement. So, that biennial report includes what are the support we get from the global community, or is that enough, what is the technology support, what is the climate finance support, what is the capacity building support, what is our level of adaptation, was our adaptation transformative, likewise lot of, to what extent with this all support you got obtained from the global community, to what extent you are successful, what is the amount of greenhouse gas you have reduced. All those things we have to report biannually. So, likewise, I mean we need to report best practices, success stories. So, that is what is the little support I expect. Lot of support we have get, but to polish this something with very essential tangible things, so that we can showcase, we can get more means of implementation to make our countries low carbon resilient country. That is thing. And the other thing is that the challenge is that really we need, I mean you see, we take awareness and everything to I mean we provide through our materials, website and everything, the workshops, the awareness things, and we need to get support from our stakeholders, our communities. Different social groups have different roles to play likewise. But I don't think we are not that much successful in mobilizing our message with and sharing that with our community. We want this to be felt by every heart. We want everyone to dedicate to do something, saving water, saving energy, switch off the light, and revert to the low fuel burning things, to use the foot bicycle rather than the motor bicycle, to shift into the nature based solutions, right. Like a enormous number of opportunities are there, but I am so frustrated to some extent where those things are seen, where those things are yielding tangible something, so that we are happy that we are successful. We see our success, then we are happy. But I think this awareness creation is not that enough. So that's why I mean we need to mobilize communities, mobilize individuals, mobilize civil societies, and mobilize and get the private sector support to mobilize communities. Ultimately, we can save our forest, we can convert our industries into low carbon technologies, and we can make our people more resilient, more adapt, more strengthened with more capacity, skills with adaptation and all. So that thing. The other challenge is I want to get support. I mean this challenge is most vested with us, because we are the responsible agencies, but we need to use media, other all the things, and we need to do some demonstrations likewise, preparatory and all those things. And the other thing is that related to my previous challenges, fine tuning our message, and finding out real target population and target action. You asked me about the carbon trading. No, the carbon trading is a big opportunities there.
That's right.
So recently in one discussion, someone asked me, it's a very good question. He asked me, Leel, is there any, have you thought of, I don't know, now you are a national focal point, direct climate change. So do you have, I have a forest in my house, because I am a child of 5 children family. Most of my family members are living in abroad. So I am in the Sri Lanka and taking care about their properties and all. Lot of lands became like forests. So can you please tell me, is there any method so that I want these areas to get more forested and to become more nice natural habitat, lot of endemic species, water conservation, habitat and everything. But I don't get anyone to get support. But you see, we are doing your work. Lot of carbon is assimilated there. So is there any method so that I can get my benefit to the conserved area of my extended family? Very good question. You understand? Very practical question. So I think we have to fine tune our message, our modalities, tools, methods, frameworks, so that such people also get benefited. So we share our carbon quota with them, carbon reduction quota with them. So such type of mechanisms are there, so that we have to be more vigilant, more assertive, more successful in that type of thing. Make the message very clear and fine tuned, and the target group and the time and all the things, and will be effective. Mobilize communities. They are the heroes of, they are the champions one day.
Exactly.
So those are the challenges here.
And now, since the economic crisis in 2022, we are talking about expansion of industries. We need more economic activities to grow the economy, so that we can come out of this economic crisis, recover the economy soon. But when you go for expansion of industries and investments, there is a trade-off between the environment and this investment. So what are the strategies Sri Lanka could implement to minimize or mitigate this environmental risk in the future?
Yeah, without I mean again this related to the what we were talking about. I mean industrial sector is very 1977 78 we opened our economy. So industry so you see almost all these industrial estates like Katunayaka, Biyagama and all other industrial estates also became into force, and lot of workforce was absorbed to those things. Now lot of foreign direct investment happened there, the Greater Colombo Economic Commission, the BOI later, then that is that. What happened is that with the economic crisis and all, so industries has a role to play. One area is that you know, being an economist, you know, there are two ways to maximize satisfaction. One is to reduce the cost, right? Other is to maximize the benefits. So we have come to an era, we are, I mean this is debatable, but I am telling it as it is. We cannot as an environmentalist I am telling, we cannot maximize the satisfaction or the profits without reducing the cost, the environmental cost, the social cost. We have come to that area. So this is not 1920s, this is not 1930s or 50s, now we are living in 2025 like. So then our lot of natural resources, our water, everything, natural resources are not that having that exergic value to give production. Lot of resources qualitatively and quantitatively limited. So then we should have more environmentally sound technologies with us, more sound capacity should be given to our people, right? And at the same time we should plan and place those things and invite investors to come and have those industries to providing some intermediary role to healing the ecosystem on one hand, intermediaries, payment for ecosystem service providers, so that we can reduce our cost of production, and we can, and at the same time we can reduce the environmental cost also, the greenhouse gases and everything. So likewise across all economic sectors, the industry sectors, if we can adapt that type of a sustainable, nature friendly method, I think that will be more thing. That is our strategy. We think that for that strategy we are preparing NDCs and all. You see eco-industrial parks we have. So the eco-industrial park, you know, there is a very interesting thing happened recently. One of an investor came to us, because whoever the investors, if they are seeking support from any donor, they need to align their proposal or the project concept note with NDCs. So these are the overarching key focus areas of the Sri Lanka. So then we are going to do that share. So we are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So then they want to have an eco-industrial park in as a solution to human elephant conflict. You see, those, someone would think that these are not mutually related, no? So then eco-industrial park is that ecosystem industrial production, human elephant is somewhere else. So but there it is an innovative idea. So they are going to have an eco-industrial park in human elephant conflict area. It is different from the industrial parks what we see today. It is different from the Katunayaka, Biyagam or those areas. It is different, right? My phone, no? Right, anyway, it's okay. So then but they are going to identify an area. So they identify economic activities and so area is elephant fringing areas. So, the danger to human lives and the properties are there. So, they are living in those areas with this all risk. So, that risk premium can be included in the for the value addition. Suppose they grow gingerly. Why they grow gingerly? Because of the elephant. So, the elephant reluctant to eat gingerly. So, elephants will once in a way will end it and they trample it, but the damage will not be that much significant. So, this is elephant damage gingerly. So, that gingerly can incorporate the risk premium inside that. So, likewise the industrial product will be then. So, this if you buy these things, there is a message to the consumers, you are buying with 1 kilogram of gingerly you are buying, you are doing some social justice to the people who are living in danger, who are sharing the risk with this elephant problem. Likewise, those things are, there are innovative ways of defining and going for the innovative solutions, creative solutions, so that our NDC and all those climate resilient low carbon objectives also achieved, and the economic prosperity is also achieved. We need that type of to balance that type of win-win situation if we want to sustainably get rid of this economic crisis.
We are living in a modern world where most of the things are now driven by the AI, artificial intelligence. How does AI being used in the climate change and natural disaster?
Yes, but AI make our things easier. So, now it won't take much time to prepare a report. Even the AI is supported with our some of staff to prepare the minutes, I mean, but they get basic idea, but they edit it as per our requirement. So, I asked them, you are writing your minutes very nicely, but how you are doing those things? Then only I know that they are using that.
But about the field in the
no,
field,
I just
grassroots
make
level.
a joke.
Yeah, that's true.
And you asked about the climate change.
Yes.
Yes. You know this AI. I mean, now all these computers are very simple way. All these computers are networked now, and the I mean data is being shared. So that there is a big cloud of data. So then there are competent people prepare some of the apps and software, so that they can do some software magic and they get the most reliable predictions, most reliable reflections can be taken. So, ChatGPT and all other AI powered tools, we can sit with the computer, then we can get with very short time, with by using a large number of data, they will get that thing to us. So, that is a good thing. That is the benefit of AI using the thing. But do you think, is that always good for climate change mitigation and adaptation? What is your thing?
No.
Yeah. Because they give an average. I mean, can you remember when we were studying our elementary economics? I can remember still one of our lecturer told data is mythical, ethical and hypothetical. You understand? You know the lecturer who told you.
I know.
Data is mythical, ethical and hypothetical. Mythical, it is not true. Average, it's not true. Ethical, yeah, we should have that type of thing, because we are bound to do social justice, ethical and hypothetical. So, then these things are also like that. But if we want to, but climate change is a real game, real challenge, real something. We want to reduce greenhouse gases. We want to fight with these consumption and production styles, not environmentally sustainable, not climate friendly, not resilient. We have to transform our lives. We have to prepare our people for low carbon livelihoods. Otherwise, how we can enhance their resilience, how we can make restore our ecosystem, restore our raining pattern and all. So, it is not mythical, ethical, hypothetical, it is real. So, then those things we should have that type of insight. That is why we use it, but we have to be very careful. Otherwise, we cannot achieve our NDC targets and all. We will do something, but the quality will not be that much acceptable. Yeah, that is the danger and the benefit.
One last question, Mr. Andani. Now, tourism is booming in Sri Lanka, right? So tourism,
yeah.
And a lot of these foreigners want to visit Sri Lanka because of its nature, right? So there is a link between this tourism and the sustainable environment. Do you see that you can attract more investment into tourism using this sustainable development process?
Exactly. So that is one of a very good economic sector. You see where we are living. We are living in the tropics. We are an island nation. You see, I mean, Sri Lanka is not that landmass, no? We have more than 22 times more exclusive economic zone, the sea, right? Likewise, we are not a very small country. You see, we have to take all those resource areas. One thing is the natural environment, culture. Natural environment plus the culture developed throughout the history with this environment, because our livelihoods, our farming, our other sustainable traditional livelihoods were developed with this nature. So then our experiences are very unique. So the tourists, we should give that, open those things for the tourists to come, see and associate, I mean see that, talk with our people and see their cultural happenings, so the intangible cultural heritage, whatever, and see the difference and the beauty of it when compared with other countries, because these tourists used to go some other countries also to see the difference, why Sri Lanka is different, like their nature is different, their culture is different. So that's why I say that the tourism is one of our adaptation sector. So we have some NDCs also. If I have some time, I can tell you the NDCs. It's okay. So then see the tourism NDCs we have included here. Tourism sector is one of a very important sector that we have identified. You see, build resilience through sustainable tourism practices and awareness for improved risk preparedness in destinations of high climate change vulnerability. Right? Promote climate resilience in the tourism sector by introducing green building design to all new constructions and refurbishment. We want hotels to be more environmentally friendly, more I mean without using fossil fuels, without burning fossil fuels, there should be some natural ways of cooling. So daytime light should be effectively used. So then their green image, their climate image is included. Then the tourists visit to hotels, they should feel the difference. Oh, how nice! So I don't likewise those things. So we are going to green building designs into. We want private investors to incorporate green building designs into tourist refurbishments and all. Promote climate change awareness in education program, tourism sector. So the tour guides and also we have. So these things, I mean, add value to the natural ecosystem. I mean, it is not exploitative, no. You see, it is a non-consumptive use in resource economics language. I mean, you can go and see our cascade system. You can, so there should be someone to interpret it. So this is Kattakaduwa, this is Tisbambe, so this ecosystem has a separate purpose, this is Kuluava, so this prevents silt comes to the, likewise, so there should be our good people, so that they should be deployed, so that nicely interpreted, and there should be a very nice good service, satisfactory service to the tourists, and it will be sustainable, and ultimate our objective can be achieved, low carbon resilient nation.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Lil Randhani, for your insight and explanation on the climate change and the mitigation of climate change. With that, we conclude this program. Thank you for watching. Good night until we meet in another program.